All right, I couldn't leave well enough alone. So if you haven't watched yesterday's video, watch that one. It's about these crystals. So this is a part 2. So I decided to hook them up. Let me draw the circuit that I have. It is a Schmidt trigger 74HC14. And we have just a second. We will 1K resistor. Okay. So this is what I have. I have an inverter. It's a 74HC14 Schmidt trigger inverter. And I have a 1K resistor in here. We'll talk about that 1K resistor, and then you might notice I don't have any capacitors to ground on the other two sides. So this is a very simplistic oscillator. There are other configurations that you can use that are probably better than this one. I just wanted to slap something together quickly. There's 2 and 3 and sometimes the capacitors and multi-stage. And anyway, there's a whole bunch of different ways to do it with inverters. But this is what I'm going to use today, and we'll see if we get our 32 megahertz. And there we go. We get a square wave out. Da, 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 da. And down here you can't read it, but it says 32 megahertz. So it is doing what it's supposed to do. Now, I talked about that 1K resistor, that series resistor. Right there, that 1K. Let's remove that 1K resistor. Let's see, I need to move a wire over to there. Okay, so without the 1K resistor, it does that. Bleh. It's still 32 megahertz, but it looks pretty ugly. And if I take out, put in the 1K resistor, it looks like that. And yeah, and I put in a 10K resistor, and it looked ugly again. Let's see. Here's a 10K. Let me put in a 10K resistor so you can see what that looks like. Let's see here. Oops. Well, there's no connection at all. That's kind of interesting. 50 megahertz. It's just going in the breeze there. Let's see here. There we go. These papers are something hard to deal with. There we go. So there is a 10K resistor, and we're measuring 50 megahertz. So the 10K resistor is not enough to make it go, okay? And the 0 ohm resistor is too much to make it go. And a 1K resistor seems to be kind of a sweet spot to make it look really nice at 32 megahertz. Okay, so the big point of the day is going to be these breadboards. These breadboards work at audio frequencies just fine. But if you start getting up and faster, there's too much stray capacitance, there's too much lead length, inductance, and things just don't work the way that you think they're supposed to work. So this oscillator is not oscillating very well. Oh, I left out one, I'm sorry. I left out one key ingredient here. Across the inverter is a 1 meg ohm resistor. And that biases to the midpoint. So there's a 1 meg across the inverter, and then this 1K over here. All right, so yeah. So we've got 3 crystals. They all oscillate fine. And I was going to look at the accuracy between them. Okay. And so I was going to get my rubidium, and I'm going to get my frequency count over there, 31.959. And I was going to do a cool video on the differences between these, crystals and whether they meet the data sheet, 30 ppm, things like that. But this particular high frequency, 32 megahertz, it's just not working well. In fact, if you take a look closely at the at the waveform up here, you can see jitter on the signal there. So it's just not a good stable platform. So anyway, lessons for the day are if you want to make accurate crystal oscillators, you do have to pay attention to layout. You have to be able to control impedances and things like that. Let's do one more thing, which is a lot of people think you need those. I mentioned last video that you needed these 20 picofarads to ground. So let's throw a couple of those in there, okay? See how they work. So I'm going to put a 20 picofarad on one side, and boom, that worked, but we are now a 7 kilohertz oscillator. Nice one, but it's 7 kilohertz, so better take that out of there. That didn't work. All right. And then I'll put it on this side of the machine. Now it's at 27.8 megahertz. So the 20 picofarads didn't seem to be needed for this, and I'm not quite sure how they're called out in the data sheet. It just might be that it's a particular number for the crystal. It's a 20 picofarad series capacitance or something for the actual crystal, and not something recommended for the actual circuit of oscillation. That's my guess. My guess is I read the data sheet wrong and I misinterpreted what the 20 picofarads was all about. I think it's actually just a characteristic of the crystal. And when you put a 32 megahertz crystal and you put a 20 picofarad capacitor around it, it's way, way, way too slow. It just bogs it down, bogs it way down. So anyway, there you go. Kind of a funny series, a part 2 series for this thing, but I thought it's always good for you guys to learn the lessons that I learn. You can do the dry lab. Did you used to call that in college when you actually didn't do the lab and just did the paperwork and called it the dry lab? Comes from chemistry class. Anyway, yeah. Maybe someday I'll get around to using those 32 megahertz crystals for something else, but I'll need to lay out a PC board to make it pretty and all that kind of stuff, and probably a better circuit.